Content warning. This video contains mentions of sexual topics. Viewer discretion advised.
Hello everyone, Mr.G here, and I'm taking a bit of a break from Monsters of the Past today, because I was getting a bit burnt out and I need a bit of a break from it before I'm ready to continue. So, I'm trying something new today. Today, I'll be discussing a bunch of Disney urban legends and see if they're true or not. I'll be discussing both their films and their cartoons in this video, so, without further ado, let's start digging and see which things are true and which are not. Let's begin. Rumor number 1. Snow White was the first animated movie ever made. False. While yes, Snow White was the first animated movie made in America, as well as the first one in color and drawn in cells, the record for the first animated movie ever goes to the lost 1917 stop-motion film El Apostol. Rumor number 2. Disney made a documentary about menstruation. True. Yep, that's right, this one's actually true. It's called The Story of Menstruation, and it's available on YouTube, so go watch it if you still don't believe me. Number 3. Disney created the myth about lemmings committing suicide. False. While yes, it is true that in the documentary White Wilderness, the filmmakers threw lemmings off of cliffs to make it look like they were going on a failed migration, they didn't create the myth. They were actually recreating a myth that had existed since at least 1900. Rumor number 4. Monsters, Inc., Uncle Roger. False. Technically, this is a Pixar film, but close enough. Anyway, the legend states that in Monsters, Inc., there is an image in this film where if you look to the left of Sully, you can see that. However, this image is photoshopped, and there is no evidence that this was ever in the movie. Rumor number 5. Mario wasn't in Wreck-It Ralph because Nintendo was asking for too much money for him to appear. False. The real reason Mario wasn't in Wreck-It Ralph was because they couldn't find a good place to put him that wouldn't be distracting. This legend likely started after Ralph's voice actor joked that Luigi was asking for more money than Mario to appear in the film. Mario was planned to appear in the sequel, but different legal reasons prevented that. Rumor number 6. Disney lost the rights to Tarzan. False. This rumor claims that the reason Tarzan isn't as well depicted as much as other Disney movies is because Disney lost the rights to Tarzan and thus legally can't use him anymore. However, Tarzan is in the public domain, so you can't lose the rights to him in the first place. The real reason Tarzan doesn't appear that much in nowadays is because the film didn't make as much money as the other Disney Renaissance films, so there's less of a market for Tarzan stuff among nostalgic people. Rumor number 7. There is a Mickey and Minnie Mouse adult film. Unconfirmed. This one is tricky due to a variety of factors. The legend claims that for one of Walt Disney's birthdays, 2 animators made an adult film featuring Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and afterwards they were fired on the spot and all copies were destroyed. To this day, there is no evidence either way that can confirm or deny this rumor, leaving its status a mystery. Rumor 8. Elsa was going to die in Frozen 2. False. Due to some people feeling the ending to Frozen 2 felt rushed, there is a rumor that in early drafts of the film, Elsa was supposed to die. However, this has been debunked by the directors, who have said that Elsa was always meant to live, and that the ending was one of the first things they planned. Rumor number 9. Slender Man appears in Gravity Falls. False. The image you see on screen is actually photoshopped, and in the actual episode there is no sign of Slender Man, and this has been confirmed by the show's creator. Although Slenderman has appeared in one of the comics. Rumor number 10. The Lion King is a ripoff of a 1960s anime. False. Claims that The Lion King is a ripoff of the Japanese series Kimbo the White Lion have been around ever since the movie came out. However, as the YouTube series Your Movie Suck pointed out, nearly every piece of evidence used to compare the two are either taken out of context, taken from Kimba media released after The Lion King, or are the result of the fact that there's only so much you can do with an African animals, and as such there is definitely going to be overlap in terms of what happens in the two series. Meaning that the chances of The Lion King being ripoffs are a lot lower than people tend to think. Rumor number 11. Tinkerbell was modeled after Marilyn Monroe. False. Claims that Tinkerbell was modeled after Marilyn Monroe are understandable, but debunkable when you realize that Monroe wasn't a star when Peter Pan was in development, making it very unlikely that the similarities were intentional. Rumor number 12. The stepsisters cut off their toes in the original story of Cinderella. False. The version people are referring to when they make this claim is the Grimm Brothers version, wherein the stepsisters cut off their toes in order to fit into the glass slipper. However, the Disney movie explicitly states that it's based on the Charles Perlet version, which predates the Grimm Brothers version by quite some time, and features no such scene. Rumor number 13. Aladdin was the first animated movie with celebrity voice acting. False. While Aladdin definitely made celebrity voice actors more common in animation, celebrities had been in animated films since Pinocchio. This rumor likely started due to stars in older films falling out of public consciousness, and as such, people don't think of them as celebrities anymore. Rumor number 14. Donald Duck is banned in Finland for not wearing pants. False. This rumor started after a city in Finland stopped buying Donald Duck comics due to financial difficulties, and due to people mishearing what happened, they assumed that he had been banned. However, in reality, Donald Duck is actually very popular in Finland, and the place that banned him has since lifted the ban, and Donald Duck comics can be sold again since the city got more money. Number 15. Beauty and the Beast is about Stockholm Syndrome. False. This one isn't really an urban legend, but it is a piece of misinformation, so I'm talking about it anyway. Now this claim is persistent, but it is false, as if you actually compare Stockholm Syndrome signs with the movie, you'll see they don't really line up. Not to mention Stockholm Syndrome is a defense mechanism that kidnapping victims use in hopes that their kidnapper will be nice to them. However, in this movie, it's kind of the reverse, in that Belle doesn't actually start liking the Beast until he starts acting nicer, making any possibility of Stockholm Syndrome nearly impossible. Rumor number 16. Steamboat Willie was the first Mickey Mouse cartoon. False. While Steamboat Willie was the first Mickey cartoon to receive a wide release, it was actually the third one made, being preceded by Plain Crazy and The Galloping Gaucho. However, those two didn't see a wide release until after Steamboat Willie became a success, making this one understandable. Number 17. Mickey Mouse was supposed to be in the public domain. False. This legend shows a pretty bad lack of knowledge on the difference between copyright and trademarks. Mickey Mouse is trademarked, which can only expire if nothing is done with the property in a certain amount of time. So as long as Disney is a thing, Mickey will never go into the public domain. Number 18. Phineas and Ferb is based on the diary of a schizophrenic girl. False. This is a weird one. It claims that the plot of the show is based on the diary of a girl who imagined that she had brothers. However, the show's creators have stated on multiple occasions that this rumor is completely untrue. Rumor number 19. A naked woman appears in The Rescuers. True. In the original release of The Rescuers, there are 2 frames where pictures from Playboy magazine can be seen. However, due to people catching on and due to complaints, these images were edited out of later releases and nowadays can only be seen on VHS. And finally, number 20. Walt Disney required his films to be remade every 7 years. False. This rumor claims the reason there are so many live-action remakes is because Walt Disney's will said that his film should be remade every 7 years. However, this is not what the will states. It actually states that his film should be re-released every 7 years, which was already what the studio was doing while he was still alive. Well, that's all for this video. See you next time when I go back to Monsters of the Past. Bye.